Holmes.
And I'm Ryan Dunigan.
And we just went and saw Lincoln. Steven Spielberg's Lincoln.
Yeah.
Not like any other Lincoln that people might have thought we might have saw.
I wonder how many people went in there thinking, like, is this the vampire one?
You see, like, fight vampires and shit?
There's actually, I want to say this, I mean, this isn't so much about the movie, but it's about our town. Before I went to go see the movie, I heard on my police scanner, there was a police officer discharged his firearm within the movie theater. I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, is it by chance that, like, a frequency bounced off, like, something and came all the way over here? I don't know, so then I go by the theater kind of early. I'm going to somewhere to use the Wi-Fi before I go to the movie theater. And I see a bunch of cop cars in front of the fucking theater. And when I got in there, I asked some guy working at the concession stand, what happened? I heard on my police scanner something about a gun going off in one of the theaters. He says, oh yeah, some off-duty cop had his gun on him, and apparently, like, the safety was off.
Well, when he says that the safety was off, I wonder, what the fuck was he doing pulling the trigger anyways?
I just like to put my hand on my gun and just pull the trigger.
I like to point at children and pull the trigger if the safety on.
Just to freak them out. When we left, there's still some cops in there, like, talking around. I'm like, don't worry, we took care of that guy.
We just went around, we just beat the fuck out of him. He won't be doing that again.
With riot sticks. That's just like in the back alley, just pouring rain. It's a rainy night tonight. Just pouring rain, just beating the fuck out of this guy with riot sticks. You're going in the fucking rape pit, Billy. No, not the rape pit!
That's where Willie the Bear will come in, and he's the raping bear.
He waits there with an eager, erect dick. No!
And this was the story they were telling the guy at the concession stand in, like, the movie theater. Well, they were all, like, leaning on his post, like they're telling a very casual story. Like, yeah, we took care of him, don't worry.
We said Willie the Rape Bear is not a big deal. Alright, so we're already, not even 2 minutes in. We're already talking about rape. That's awesome. But anyway, so,
speaking of rape, there was
speaking of rape, yes.
Before you keep bumping this.
My bad.
But,
small platform.
You need a table or something?
Behind you, where my arms can't reach.
Oh, well.
Too late now.
I feel like that's going to bump something originally.
We'll improvise. Okay. We're giving you at home a visual.
We're clearly not improvising. You're just looking at it.
What?
You're just looking at it.
I'm not reading it off. I'm saying...
And you're clearly not improvising. But you know what was another rape, though? Is that Twilight movie. It raped 3 theaters. 3 theaters were taken up by that movie. And only one was taken by Lincoln.
Yeah, well... I was actually still surprised that Taken 2 was in theaters.
Yeah, it's been there for like a month.
Yeah, poor Cloud Atlas only had one screening.
Yeah, one showing.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I got the one showing here.
Well, that's poor Wachowski's and the Run Lola Run guy. No, the Twilight shit. Let's just get this out of the way real quick. I've only seen the first 2 because I was dragged to them.
I wouldn't even care to see the first 2.
Well, no, I didn't want to see it, but I'll be honest. The first one, it's one of those movies, it's not god-awful. It's so bad, it's actually kind of enjoyable. Not to the level of, like, I want to watch it again, it's so bad, let's take a shot every time he sparkles. Nothing like that. It's just such a it was just so lame, but it wasn't, like, god-awful. It's like, whatever, I saw it once. It was kind of so cheesy, it was funny, whatever. And then, I got dragged to see the second one, and the whole time I'm just sitting like, I hope this just fucking ends. This is gonna end unlike Resolve, just abruptly, and I'd be perfectly fucking fine. And luckily I haven't seen any of them since then, so...
Yeah, that's good. I don't know. I never cared to see any of them. To this day, I still don't care. I feel like my life is a lot better by not seeing them.
They kind of destroyed vampires.
I mean, yeah, it really does. It's kind of a sad thing.
I mean, they're still... I'm not saying it like, vampires will never be cool again, but I'm kind of like... vampired out because of all this Twilight shit.
Well, it kind of ruins it. The sad thing is when people make shit like this, and I have nothing wrong against the writer. It's not really their fault. They wrote a fucking book and shit happened. Apparently the book's supposed to be way different anyways. It's the producers and everybody else. And I mean, I give them credit because they made a lot of money for themselves, but just, it's like, that's it. It's like, it's kind of like vampires, same as zombies. It's like, they're kind of at that point where they're just kind of like ruined. It's almost like you feel ashamed to say you like them. You know what I mean? It's almost, you have to be like a closet case obsession.
I don't feel like I gotta hide the fact that I like zombies or vampires, but beforehand I actually had a zombie script that I was looking forward to write. Now I'm just kind of like, so much zombie shit out there. I don't feel the need to write it. You know?
Yeah, that's why I did my zombie script. It just went way in the back burner.
Yeah, but anyway, so on something that well, I guess there's one other Lincoln movie within the last year, but back on Lincoln, though, which this movie has a huge cast. It has Daniel Day-Lewis, has Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Jackie Earle Haley, Cusack. John Cusack actually makes a brief appearance, and Tommy Jones, and the dead bird that flew on his head, and just he didn't take the time to remove it.
Well, then there's also Sally Field is also in it.
I forgot Sally Field, yeah.
And I feel like
there's a handful of other people.
There was a lot of people. It was kind of surprising because a lot of people almost had like small cameos.
Mm-hmm.
But they were large characters still, I guess you could say.
Historically, I guess.
Historically, yeah.
But no.
No, it was pretty cool. I'd have to say I liked it. It reminded me a lot of Amistad.
Amistad?
You seen that one before?
I don't think I've seen that one.
You never seen that Steven Spielberg movie?
No.
It's about pretty much like the slave trade in like the later 1800s.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens is it's got the beginning's all kind of cool because it gives you a real good example of like, you know, the slave trade. Like they go to, or the Spanish go to Africa, steal a bunch of slaves, bring them back, and it kind of shows like, you know, how horrible it is for that. And then they sell them. And when they get to America, you know, they realize that, oh, we're doing something illegal because now, you know, slavery's abolished. But the Spanish keep doing it.
Because a lot of people, I think, when in this movie thing, they're going to see like Lincoln's whole life when it's primarily just about him passing the 13th Amendment.
Well, yeah, and that's what Amistad was too. It was mainly a trial movie. I mean, you had like that cool like half an hour block that really gave you a good history insight, and then after that, it was just kind of this long trial. And this, you know, that's kind of cool. I will say that sometimes that's like one of those ones like I'd almost like to see like a little bit more than just the trial when it comes to movies sometimes. Mm-hmm.
Well, it goes to the trial and the end of the war, which happened around the same time. And I'll be honest, I was a little not that I want Lincoln to die, but it's one of those things. You kind of wish they showed it at the end because he dies, and what happens is they show like his kid at another play, like the president's been shot, and then we just see everybody crying and him on his deathbed after being checked up and all that, and it's almost kind of like I don't want to be this guy, but you kind of want to see, like, if you're watching a movie about someone who you know dies, you actually kind of want to see it happen.
Well, yeah.
It's like you want to see the Death Star explode, you know? So.
Oh, yeah, I will say this. I used to think of, like, a lot of, like, kind of those biopic movies. That was always the biggest letdown is when they do the cutaways of, like, when they get shot. That's why I always said that, like, Milk with, like, Sean Penn, I was really glad that it showed him get shot because it's like, if they die, let us see it. You let us show them everything else in the movie, you know? Don't cut out on the death.
Yeah.
It's either that or I thought the movie actually could have, strangely enough, because everybody knows Lincoln dies.
Yeah.
I like to assume, you know, that when you go to see this movie.
What if they just pulled a total, like, Quentin Tarantino, like, as soon as John Wilkes sneaks behind him, he, like, flips around, does, like, kung fu on him.
Throws him over the edge.
Does, like, some 70s, like, you know, like, guitar theme to it, you know?
But I almost thought that, like, when he was walking, like, pretty much, right when he was going to go to the movie, or, like, the movie theater. I mean, the Playhouse.
I know what you meant.
And then, like, kind of his black butler guy was, like, handing him his gloves. And then he, like, threw him on the ground and then kept walking. And it had that long shot of just Lincoln walking off.
Yeah.
You know, I almost thought that it could have just faded to black right there. And that almost would have been just as good of ending. Because, I mean, you already know he dies, but I thought that would have been perfect for, like, what that movie was kind of all about.
I wonder how many people in the theater sat there and, like, when Lincoln, like, how many people, not in our theater, but just in general, if anybody ever did this, like, just sitting there watching the movie, like, the president's been shot, and someone stands up, what the fuck? Like, someone, did anybody see that coming? You know?
Oh, I thought he was still alive.
Yeah.
I thought him and Jimmy Carter toured the world.
Yeah.
Giving speeches.
And, yeah, him and JFK. That'd be a hell of a trio right there.
Jimmy Carter, JFK, and Lincoln.
Do presidential, like, they need, like, movie, like, where a bunch of presidents travel back in time and, like, fight crime together.
That'd be awesome.
Like
they just
Lincoln,
travel through time.
Yeah,
that's what it is. It's all about time travel.
Yeah, it's like, all right, Lincoln, Carter, because no one ever expects Carter.
No, I think Jimmy Carter, that's a cool one. He's good, like, I don't know. I always thought that was one of the best presidents, so. Yeah.
We get JFK. He could be almost kind of like, what would JFK, if this is Justice League, all right, let's go over it. Like, Lincoln's Superman.
Yeah, Lincoln would definitely be Superman. Jimmy Carter, strangely enough, I feel would be more like
Green Lantern, maybe.
Yeah, or an Aquaman, and I don't mean that like in a bad way. I just feel like that's kind of like I feel like he almost be like an Aquaman.
Yeah, maybe an Aquaman. Yeah, that's a good point. Aquaman. I'm thinking JFK, Batman.
Yeah, JFK could be Batman.
Batman. We don't have a woman president, so.
So hopefully in the future, maybe they go in the future, they can pull one off.
Yeah.
To be Wonder Woman.
Let's see, can we get... So that's be...
Would Barack Obama be Cyborg?
Barack Obama would be Cyborg. It's like, I'm sorry, Barack, it's by default. So, we're going off the new 52. So, why the fuck do I gotta be Cyborg? Hey, you can always be Martian Manhunter. No, fuck that, Cyborg. We got, let's see, we got, who could be Flash? We could be, who is, Was there ever a president with a coke problem?
George Bush did coke.
Well, he's not very fast in the head, so I don't know about that. Let's see here. I can't believe I forgot George Bush. Oh, Clinton. Clinton would be Flash.
Clinton would be Flash.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. There's our Justice League, and they travel around.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. So that was fun. That's gonna be the DC like president's like Justice League movie. That'd be awesome.
And they travel around. What they do, they just travel throughout time and like stop evil.
Yeah. I'd check that out. Who wouldn't? You know.
That'd be badass.
So, all right. So, what the fuck? Lincoln, right? All right. So,
somehow we got to fit Batman in there.
There's your Batman reference. Something you could actually really sell this movie. Just like you could rename this movie "Insert Oscar Here."
Yeah, it really did. So it's kind of I feel like how Steven Spielberg movies sort of are nowadays. It's just like instant classic drama.
Not Indiana Jones 4.
Oh no! What after Indiana Jones 4? He learned like fuck it. You know what we're doing? We're just staying away from all that. Yeah.
Well, he seems to do half and half. He seems like, okay, here's my big blockbuster movie. Here's my Close Encounters of the Third Kind, my Raiders of the Lost Ark type movie, and over here's my big large scale drama that's for sure gonna win something. Like he did last year. He did War Horse and Tintin, which I didn't see either of those, but yeah.
But it seems like he's been. I mean, like there's a handful. I mean, there's Indiana Jones, but it seems like the last while he's been kind of focusing less on the summer blockbusters, I guess, and more on like the big dramas, excluding Indiana Jones.
Mm-hmm. He did Munich, which was fucking badass.
Yeah, Munich's like that's almost like an in between, like where it's not really a summer blockbuster and it's not really like the super drama. It's just
dramatic
kind of action film.
Yeah.
That was a badass one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, did that come out the same year as Indiana? No, it came out the year before Indiana Jones.
That was right before Indy.
Yeah, so that guy's fucking busy.
And then before that, I think he did like probably. What the fuck did he do before that?
I don't know.
Oh, was that fucking Tom Cruise and
Minority Report?
No, not well. There's that one.
That was before. Yeah.
But right after that one,
Tom Cruise,
the classic War of the Worlds.
War of the World, yeah.
But that's one of those movies where like the special effects and all that stuff's really cool in the movie, but the kids are horrible.
The kids kind of kill that movie for me. It's like, Dad, you're so fucking lame. Why are the aliens taking over? I'm doing my best, son. Yeah, well, my other dad, he'd do something if the aliens were taking over the world. Where the fuck is he?
Yeah, well, my dad's got TiVo and you don't, Dad. You poor fuck. It's just like, it's one of those ones, like, I that's one thing that drives me up the wall in all kinds of movies is where, like, there's, like, a dad, and he's trying so fucking hard, and his kids, like, do not give a flying fuck about whatever he does.
They break into his, like, there's part where they break into his ex-wife's house, like, all right, let's make some sandwiches. Like, I'm not hungry. I'm not hungry, too. And then they're just, like, okay, just fucking chucks the sandwich at the fucking window.
It's one of those movies, like, really, if those kids just got killed off right in the very beginning of the movie, and Tom Cruise, and the movie's just about Tom Cruise from there on out. Like, we don't need stupid fucking kids.
There's that whole fucking part where, like, it's like the kid just sees, like, fucking tanks heading towards this, like, walking tripod of death. And he's all like,
I'm gonna go fight!
The kid just has this look, like, just this, like, wide-eyed look. I'm just gonna kill those fuckers. He's just like, what the fuck are you gonna do? We gotta go do something, Dad! We gotta do something! Like,
what are you gonna do? Go whip your dick out and start slapping the aliens in the feet?
Yeah.
You never know, Dad. It could be their weakness.
These Martians hate dick.
And AIDS.
Yeah.
Son, when'd you get AIDS? When I fucked a hooker that Mom bought me for Christmas.
When was the last time you bought me a hooker, Dad? Huh? And little girl's like, yeah, when was the last time you bought me a hooker?
All you bought me is a blow-up doll because you're a cheap dad.
Cool parents buy them things they can fuck.
It actually technically wasn't a doll, it was just a blow-up dolphin. That you told me to use in the pool. What kind of sick joke is that, Dad? What, you want me to fuck it out in public?
I gave you a inflatable dolphin to go swimming, and that was when you were 7. That wasn't like last fucking year. Yeah, well, I fucked it anyway because I had nothing else. Then my mom got me a fucking hooker for Christmas.
I'm like, you cheap bastard. Guess what? I broke all the windows in your house with your baseball. How about that?
Anyway, Lincoln, so
Steven Spielberg gives us fantastic drama here.
So
with no rape, really.
No rape, no guy slapping his dick against an alien robot leg. No crystal skulls either. So
no, it was a pretty good one. I mean, it's not a movie for everybody though. I will say that like a lot of people would probably be really bored by this movie.
I heard some people talking throughout it. Not gonna lie.
Well, old people talk in the movies. I think they just come to this point like either they think that they don't know they're talking kind of loud. Or two, that's just they're so lost in what they're like, fuck everybody else, I'm going to talk as loud as I want, I'm old, I'm going to die.
I'm going to die on my way home. I'm going to die.
I was there with Lincoln. Where the fuck were you?
Gotta tell you, he was shorter than that.
And I kicked his ass. You're like, sir, you're only like 63.
On the outside, you know.
The inside, though, I was time traveling with the ex-presidents.
The ex-presidents. I was their whipping boy.
They said someday that maybe I could be president, but then they all turned and laughed. I could never figure that out.
That's why I didn't vote for the Obama.
And guess what? He got to be the cyborg of the group.
There's no time. They saw the new 52 coming.
They were in the future already.
Yeah. And then we had, I thought, like, Tommy Lee Jones did a pretty good job in the movie. He was actually...
No, well, I mean, he did, he always does a good job.
He always just plays the same guy, but it's like he's... I mean, I'm the only complaint about his character I have, it's not so much his character, it's his wardrobe. It's people call it a wig. It's not a wig. A bird flew on his head and died, and he never took the time to take it off. And every time I looked at his head, like, fuck, I just...
Well, that's all they had back then. They just had, like...
found roadkill that they just put on their head. Like, oh, this will work.
Well, I ran off the horse last week.
I wish I could grow a mullet, but here's a dead fox, so...
Well, then he finally takes the wig off at the very end of the movie, and he looks like Professor Xavier.
He did. Well, it looked like a fusion of, like, Xavier and, like, Bryan Cranston from Breaking Bad.
Yeah, he just looks like, whoa.
He could have, if he was Xavier, that would have been the X-Men movies like 100 times better. Just like, listen, Magneto, I don't give a shit what you have to say. Bottom line is, humans have a right, just the same old thing, like, listen, Scott, quit being such a pussy about your fucking glowy laser eyes, alright?
He actually doesn't have any mutant abilities, it's just nobody wants to threaten him, or, like, try to, like, bring him down.
Listen, I can actually fucking walk. I just sit in this chair because I don't feel like fucking walking. God forbid the day I do get out of the chair. I feel bad for that sorry son of a bitch.
And I'll whoop their ass.
Looks over at like Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. Wolverine just looks down, turns the other way. Yeah, that's what I thought.
You don't want to see my mutant power.
Just cracks his knuckles and like strolls on out.
Puts the fucking dead bird wig on.
Yeah, so, and then, like, Sally Field, actually, I don't really know a whole lot about the real Molly Lincoln, but I knew that she was a little crazy in the head. In this movie, she kind of walked the, like, middle ground between that, which I guess is a good sellable way to do it,
Well, apparently, as for, like, in history, like, towards, like, the last days of Lincoln, as he started to get kind of old, that, like, she was the one, like, Lincoln would tell her stuff, and then she would tell everybody else what he was saying. So they always had that theory that, like, what happened if things might have got slightly switched up in that conversation period.
Yeah.
Because Lincoln, I think, was just in bed quite a bit, like, towards the end. Mm-hmm. And I didn't really show him there, but that's just what I remember.
No, they didn't show him bed a whole lot. And then they also had, like, they got the whole point across is one of his kids died, and they're all guilt-ridden about that. Mm-hmm. Then the youngest kid, I forgot the youngest kid's actual name, but I forgot, because it's one of those things, back when you're like I remember I was back in elementary school. I remember what grade it was. Every person got assigned to do a certain president, and you always want. I lucked out. I got Lincoln. Everyone wants to do the cool,
I got
easy
Bill Clinton.
one. You got Bill Clinton,
yeah.
Because you didn't pick the president. You got assigned one. I was like, oh, I so lucked out. I already know most of it, but there are certain things that are suddenly come back to me because I remember like just reading, just simple like versions, just simplified versions for kids. Like, oh yeah, like his kid. Like they got the point across. The kid's always playing around in his office, always running around doing shit. Like he accidentally set one of the maps on fire, and everybody working there's like, are you fucking serious? Everybody working there has that attitude, but he's like, oh, he's a kid, don't be.
So people always like there's a bunch of like attitude. Like there's that one guy who's just like he's smoking a cigar, and the lady's like next to him like, oh, my husband, he has the emphysema and stuff. The guy just in there. Still smoking, doesn't even think it.
His secretary
moves in closer, starts blowing smoke in his face.
You're gonna vote for Amendment 13, right?
Yeah, whatever.
All right, sounds good. Puts a cigarette out.
Puts out like in his face.
Get the fuck out of my face. And there's the part like I like I don't remember the actor's name, but I've seen them all before. There's like I guess the kind of the Three Stooges guys are going around like bribing people to vote for Amendment 13, trying to get bribing Democrats to vote for Amendment 13. Mm-hmm. And I just thought that was almost kind of like, it almost seems kind of like a setup for a Quentin Tarantino movie. Those guys just going around, just, just like fucking breaking horse carriages, like fucking hammering their hands down, like, you're gonna fucking vote for this, right? Right, I'll fucking vote,
And well, they all like live like in an attic too, for some reason.
Yeah.
Like that one time that Lincoln goes to visit them. Like, he can barely even stand up in it. It's just like a tiny-ass little attic, and they're just, like, playing cards up there.
Lincoln's boys, And then, like, there's a part, like, I was just almost kind of like, it'd be one of those things, like, I kind of wish Quentin Tarantino made a movie about those three guys, you know what I mean? Just have a part where, like, one of them's tied up, they're sawing his ear off with a rusty saw, somebody's with a fiddle playing Stuck in the Middle with You.
Well, this movie had, like, a lot of, like almost, like, old people comedy. It reminds me, like, when, like, my grandpa would tell, like, jokes or stories. Like, it's like, the same style of comedy.
Well, makes sense. They got that historically accurate, that part of it. Like, and plus Lincoln, he has a lot of those moments where he'll, like, sit down and tell, he has, like, those long, drawn-out jokes, and then, like, I don't see what's so funny. He gets to the point, like, oh, that's kind of funny, And there's a part where, the one guy's like, you're telling another, like, it was like when Williamsburg was getting attacked, and he's all like, you're gonna tell a joke when Williamsburg, I don't got time for this shit! And he walks off, and then, like, Lincoln just stays there, tell him this joke. All right, you guys, sit around, get around, check this shit out.
Stop working. I got a joke here, a joke story for you.
Yeah, but, sir, I'm the fucking president. You're gonna sit down and listen to this joke. He's actually get across. Lincoln's actually a pretty nice guy in this. And the thing about it is, a lot of people kind of debate whether the Civil War was strictly for slavery or not. And a lot of people say, oh, no, they're a bunch of, like...
Well, it was for government, is what it was for.
Yeah, but a lot of people debate saying kind of like, we did it just solely because the North went against the South just because they were against slavery.
That's like just kind of like the myth that they kind of put into it, just like it like is an overtone, and it wasn't really about that. It was really about like two different types of governments.
Yeah, and then there's like the other one, which is like they didn't give a flying fuck. They couldn't care less. And this movie walked more the middle, which I think is probably a little bit more accurate to it.
Yeah, I was just like, I mean, the slavery part was a big part of it. That's the thing. Yeah. It's not like it was like that, but people kind of forget that wasn't the number one reason though for it. It was that they wanted Confederacy so that the states didn't have to listen to like the Union. Everybody could make their own decisions in their own state, which in terms means you could have slavery or you couldn't have slavery. It wasn't like a federal thing.
Yeah. And I know that. I'm just saying this is one of those things. A lot of times, movies trying to beat it over the head. It was one or the other.
Slavery. That's the only thing it was about.
And the movie actually
look at those dirty Southerners.
This movie actually kind of walks the middle line and say, yes, slavery was a very big part of it, but it wasn't the only thing, and it played it very realistic, and that's what I liked about it. So,
no, yeah, I did a good job of that. Had great visuals in it too.
Yeah, I liked it. Just the way, because I don't know. Anytime you take like an old 1800s room and just have like light coming through it, it always just looks really cool. I don't know. Why.
It's like period pieces are I don't know. I like a period piece more than anything else as far as a movie goes. It's like, I'm already sold mostly when I see it's a period piece. That's already cool enough as is, just because I like to look at the shit.
Yeah.
And the one thing I kind of wish they showed is just like, I wish there was a little bit more war scenes. There's really just that one war scene in the very beginning.
This very scene they show in the trailer.
Yeah, the very scene they show in the trailer.
Then you see a city burning.
Yeah, and then you see the city burning. And that was actually a really cool shot towards the end, because then it just had Lincoln. He was just walking through this battlefield of just all these dead bodies and all this carnage.
I was actually kind of surprised because it's a PG-13 movie, and this movie's very tame, but one of the dead bodies, you literally see a guy with his gut open and organs just hanging out. I'm like, and it kind of holds on it for a second. I was kind of surprised, but I guess that's the only
because that was the thing, that was like the only one. And I think it's one of those movies, it's Steven Spielberg, so you can get by a little bit more, and two, since it's kind of like a historical thing, people are like, well, that's okay, it's historical.
Yeah. Another thing about this movie that kind of really surprised me is it was 3 major studios got this movie. 3 major studios I never thought I'd see come together. DreamWorks, Touchstone, and 20th Century Fox. Touchstone is owned by Walt Disney. And
DreamWorks is Steven Spielberg's company and those other two guys.
And DreamWorks and Disney don't get along. And then 20th Century Fox, I don't think 20th Century Fox get along with anybody, really.
Yeah. So, it's kind of surprising. Maybe Steven Spielberg just brought them all together.
Steven just made peace, just walked in.
he did like a Lincoln speech.
Yeah.
Lincoln was really convincing in that movie. He could tell you, he could convince you on anything. If he just sat down and told you a story, you'd be like, well, fuck, how is this guy not right?
That's the thing about I keep on saying Lincoln, but really Daniel Day-Lewis. You forget you're watching Daniel Day-Lewis. That's how good of a fucking actor.
No,
this
Daniel
guy
Day-Lewis is amazing. It's funny because like he hasn't done that much acting really in a long time. Like,
well, he's very picky with his roles.
Well, the last one he did was There Will Be Blood.
He did one before, since then. He did a very shitty movie called 9.
Was he in that one?
Yeah, he was the main guy in that movie, and that's a movie. It's pretty much a musical version of. I mean, the original.
The movie is.
Yeah, the original 8 half that actually had some music in it and all that, and some scenes like that. But 9 was just a fucking piece of shit. I couldn't stand that movie. But
I'm glad I didn't see that.
Yeah. It just I didn't realize it was somewhat of a remake of 8 half, and I was just like, what the fuck is this? You know. But no, anyway, back to a good movie.
I mean, like he could convince you.
He wasn't bad. It was just the movie itself. But yeah.
But I mean, like him as Lincoln, he could almost convince you the exact opposite way. Like, well, if he told you that we needed slaves, people would probably believe in it. They're like, oh fuck it.
Even like slaves, because he was just like that nice of a guy and just that convincing. Well, let me tell you a story about my old grandpappy. That's kind of funny. Maybe he's right. Maybe we should keep slaves. He's just like that convincing about it. So, and he did a great job in this movie. I really forgot. I mean, not saying I know it's not really fucking Lincoln, but I forgot I was watching Daniel Day-Lewis.
No, because he really like transforms into the character. Because the acting, this is one of these movies that really like it circles itself around like really good acting and really good writing. Yeah, like that's really what this movie is. It doesn't really focus too much. I mean, there's like the visual kind of like cosmetics of like what goes around to give you the scenes, but it really is. It's an acting movie, full on.
That's what this movie's primarily made for. Because plus, there's a lot of like those just long shots, just hold on everybody, and it's like you primarily see.
And you're just watching acting.
Yeah, you're not. There's a lot of the scenes. There's not very much cuts from person to person. It just holds on these people. This is very much an acting movie. And then Joseph Gordon-Levitt plays the oldest son who wants to go to war. Dad, I want to go to war. It's like, you shouldn't go to war. You're one of our last sons. I want to go to war, Dad.
Why does my younger 14-year-old brother get to wear a uniform and I don't get anything? I don't want to be a lawyer, Dad. Yeah, he came across kind of a little bitch, though. Because it's just like, it was once like, Dad, I was in lawyer school and you paid all this money, but fuck it, Dad.
I was in lawyer school.
I don't want to be a lawyer anymore. I'm not going back to Boston.
I want to go back to soldier school. You mean boot camp, son? Yeah, soldier school.
Whatever, Dad. Fuck you. You don't ruin my life, Dad.
Just runs off crying. God, Nightwing's kind of a bitch, isn't he?
Yeah, they always say, yeah. I don't know, yeah, he's just kind of like the bitch. I mean, like, nothing wrong with that character, I guess, but that's just kind of how it came across.
The real guy, yeah. But no, that was actually, like, what else about the movie? It was a pretty good one. It's like one of those movies, I don't think you need to watch it over and over again, but it was enjoyable.
Well, it's the same way I felt about Amistad. They really remind me of kind of like two very similar movies. It's just like, they're really good movies, but, they're like those movies you watch once and you really appreciate the time you spent on it. But no, it's not like it's Jurassic Park or Jaws or something you can keep coming back more and more and more.
This is off topic from Lincoln, but it is somewhat Spielberg related, and you said Jurassic Park, and I want to say this because I know you'll find this interesting. Recently, we said in a few podcasts ago, the guys that wrote Rise of the Planet of the Apes are doing Jurassic Park 4. Now they released like old like concept art from the previous draft, and apparently they're gonna fuse like dinosaurs with humans.
Oh yeah.
They have concept art of like these human dinosaur hybrid things.
Wow. That reminds me of like they sort of had like toys like that came out like somewhere in the late 90s where the point they came like, fuck, what else do we make of Jurassic Park toys? Well, we just start making whatever the fuck we want. Let's just make these, like, mutant dinosaurs.
Yeah, they're, like, genetically engineering dinosaurs, and they're using them for the army. And they said, like, oh, they have human elements to them, and they have, like, traces of dog DNA to make them more loyal and all that, and they, of course, rebel or whatever. And that's apparently, they haven't revealed the script, but they revealed these old, like, industrial light magic models, so.
Interesting.
Yeah, not really Lincoln, but somewhat Lincoln.
That's an interesting concept.
Yeah,
I kind of like a little bit more realism, but whatever. That could be still kind of cool.
Well, it's one of those things that I don't think it needs to be in Jurassic Park.
No, yeah, I think that could be it's its own dinosaur thing.
I mean, I'd see it regardless because it was Jurassic Park.
Yeah,
I'd probably bitch about it afterwards, but
But that'd be pretty cool still.
Yeah,
I guess.
Do we know what Spielberg's next project is by chance? Do you know?
I have no idea.
I haven't.
Spielberg stuff it kind of just like
comes out.
Yeah, because like that Lincoln movie, I only heard about it like a handful of months ago.
Yeah, just like
it was like, oh yeah, by the way.
That's how a lot of stuff does. He's always so busy.
And that's kind of how Warhorse was too. It's like, by the way.
Yeah. Tintin I kind of heard about like a few years previously, so that, but I don't know how I came across that. I remember I watched the cartoon when I was a kid.
Yeah, I never saw that.
Yeah, well, it was an old, like, I want to say it was like old early 1900s like comic book series or something like that, and then I saw like the cartoon on Nickelodeon, which seemed kind of weird. I mean, I guess the comic's big like in Canada and Europe, but it just seemed kind of weird to come out with a movie to that, like a big grand scale American movie. Like, it was produced by Nickelodeon, so it was like, and like the idea of Spielberg doing a Nickelodeon movie, just like, really, that's happening? Well, that's good for him, good for them actually. And then like it's like, hey, you guys remember that show that came on Nickelodeon like at 7 in the morning on weekdays before you went to school? Here's a movie of it, you know.
No, well, here it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, they used to always, I remember they'd put like cartoons on really fucking early sometimes. It's like, is that really a target audience time? I feel like most kids couldn't watch cartoons that time because like their parents would be like, no, watching the news.
So, in the morning?
Yeah.
I remember watching like we used to this in the Sonic the Hedgehog retrospect. I remember watching Sonic Underground like at 6:30 in the morning just because I woke up early.
Yeah, you like watch it like. Well, I remember I'd wake up extra early to watch these shows, which nowadays I cannot imagine doing anything fucking like that. I would never wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning to watch a cartoon show.
You had like a fucking deadline to schedule. It was almost like work. You get up, like pouring yourself some coffee. All right, time to catch ABC's one Saturday morning. Here we go.
Got some Sonic, got some Mega Man, got some Monster Rancher. Yeah. Sounds like a good day.
Was that one on ABC?
I don't think I don't think I watched ABC nearly as much. I can't remember what channel that actually came on, but I remember Monster Rancher and Mega Man were on the same channel. I think. Digimon too.
Jumping back for a second on Lincoln. Something not so much on Lincoln, but this is kind of like a freak thing. I'd never really seen this before, like as in ever, unless it was some weird independent theater. There was one trailer in this movie, and it was like the new trailer to Oz the Great and Powerful.
Yeah, it's like big whoop. But I remember like that just blew my mind because I'm like, I don't think it's. It must have been like, well, there's just a bunch of old people in here, so we all know that they don't want to like be here all night.
Throwing something's gonna blow their fucking minds,
you know, and they're not gonna watch anything else you put up there.
Yeah. Just fucking walk out. We're sitting around the trails. I was just waiting for Hugh Jackman. Because I've been listening to the podcast. Every movie you've been going to see for a while, Hugh Jackman pops up and says, go see Les Miserables or whatever. Just like, fuck you. Les Miserables or whatever the fuck it's called.
And it's always the same fucking commercial, too. It's like, at least change it up for Christ's sake.
And it's not even like a standard trailer. It's like a 5-minute thing. Here's behind the scenes look about a movie that no one's gonna go fucking see. Especially since you're advertising the shit out of it to a ridiculous level, you know?
And plus because you're advertising to the wrong audience. Like, every movie we saw was pretty much just about the wrong audience.
Yeah, they showed it for Argo. They showed it for Wreck-It Ralph.
They showed it for Dredd.
And they showed it for Man with the Iron Fist. And then, and now, like, I was expecting, like, they didn't see it in this movie, so I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Thank you. Yeah. Maybe, like, Spielberg paid him off, just the Wizard of Oz bullshit, okay? Just show that.
Well, the only bit, too, about, like, when, like, you ever see a movie and, like, they know that it's just gonna be a bunch of old people in there, is then they crank the heater up like nobody's business.
Yeah.
Where it's just almost like, you just almost want to, like, just take all your clothes off and sit there in your boxers, like, Jesus Christ, it's hot in here.
All the old people are like, oh, what are you talking about? You know?
Oh, fuck, I got my parka on, you know? I'm just surprised they don't just, like, roll into, like, fire stoves that old people could just go down and keep throwing logs on, like, every 20 minutes. And
then they stoke it for a second and just go back to sitting.
So they can get the exact feeling of it at their own house, of how hot they can fucking get it. Sometimes old people, I think they feel like they want to challenge themselves. Like, how hot can I get my house?
Yeah, that's what it feels like. Like a sauna. Just they sit there, like, Grandpa's like, no! You know, just sitting there, just gripping, like, you know.
Well, that's how my grandpa's house was. Like, he would get that heater going as fucking hot as it could possibly be. That stove would be burning. And he would sit the stove would be all the way up by the TV, and he would sit at the very far end of the house, so if you wanted to watch a TV, you had to sit, like, at about, like, 5 feet away from this furnace.
Like, Grandpa, why do you have the furnace on? To show my dominance! Can you stand it? Because I can! I stand in World War II, you fucking pussy!
And then there's some people, they just, like, literally the second that, like, it drops, like, 10 degrees, they get a fire going, and that fire lasts, like, 24/7 from fall till next summer. Like it
They
never
don't let it
goes
die.
out, and it's always at a constant like 85 degrees.
They have timers that go off at night to remind them to put fucking logs on it.
But that's how the theater felt, though. I thought it was really fucking hot in there.
We're good at tangents, but yeah.
It's funny because, like, also in the summertime, sometimes you go in there and I feel like it's way too fucking cold because you're so used to it being like 90 degrees out, then it's like 70 degrees in there.
Unless you're in like an old people's movie during the summer, like it's so fucking cold in here. You know?
Where's that furnace you rolled in last time?
Yeah.
I'll go down there and stoke the fire. Don't mind. Be my patriotic duty.
I also bought a spike for playing some horseshoes. You know, just fucking front row, just playing horseshoes with a fucking fire going. Do you know anybody that plays horseshoes anymore aside from old people? I don't want to sound like a young like a young prick or something, like, you know, like horseshoes for people who don't have video games. I don't want to sound like that guy, but
you also like playing kick the can.
Yeah, like kick.
Let's all go play kick the can.
Good old scat man.
Yeah. Speaking of I thought that was really fun in the movie. I like when like the day of the voting day, and like they brought a bunch of black guys in and stuff, or black people in. They sit at the top. All the white people in there just turn and do that look like, there's a bunch of black people in here. Okay.
Don't act racist. Don't act racist.
Don't, like, cool, we want to impress them. We're changing. They all have that, like, in their minds. It's kind of like the first time, if you come from a small town, and then, like, the first time you kind of see a black person, you don't want to come across racist, but you've never seen them before, so, like, sometimes you just start spouting out things, and it almost comes across like, oh, this guy's trying way too hard.
I grew up in San Jose, so I never really had that, but I know what you mean, though.
When I grew up, we didn't see black people in this town until I was like 19.
It's like, hey, dog, I love Samuel Jackson. How about you, man? Huh? Want to go shoot some hoops later? Just like giving you this look like, motherfucker. Stop fucking talking.
It's like, no, I like ice hockey, heavy metal.
And Gone with the Wind is my favorite movie.
Just something like that, just like, be yourself.
Yeah. That's a little bit of a hint of a Batman episode coming up. We're not going to say which characters, but yeah.
But no, Lincoln was good. It's one of those movies, like, it's one of those movies I don't know how much you could talk about on when things are really good.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's one of those movies, it's good, but you don't feel the need to, like, rush and watch it again.
No, and it doesn't seem like a movie I'd really need to own.
Same here.
I couldn't imagine watching it. Like, I could see maybe watching it again down the road, like, I mean, almost like probably years from now. It was just one of those movies, you watch it like once and it's like, that's pretty fucking awesome. And I think you should see it in theaters just because it gives that good, like, epic feel, and the music really works well. And
give your money to something other than Twilight.
Yeah. On 3 cinemas.
And there's actually, since we got the time for it, there's actually something I came across recently. I guess it would be like a double podcast, Lincoln and something else. I just got this album, a band called RNDM, which is they've been really advertising it as Jeff Amnett's band. That's the bass player from Pearl Jam. And it has someone named, the lead singer is a guy named Joseph Arthur, which I guess he's primarily a solo artist. So it's kind of it's somewhat of a super group. And they got a guy named Richard Stuvard, who was apparently just jumped around the Seattle scene from band to band for a while. So I'm guessing he's one of those people who never really made it. As far as just glancing at his career real quick, because he was a drummer to I believe he was a drummer to Mother Loves Bone for a little while and some other bands. I think he's somebody that just all the grunge rockers kind of know just from the Seattle scene.
Yeah, that kind of happens.
So they're a pretty good band. They almost kind of remind me of not everyone's gonna like them, but they're kind of you listen to a little of them. What do you think from what you've heard? Given the 3 songs I played for you,
they remind me kind of just like Eddie Vedder, sort of, kind of like when he does his solo things.
Makes sense.
With a little bit more like instruments, I guess, involved.
Yeah, to me, it kind of remind me of a little bit of a Pearl Jam, obviously, seeing as it comes from the bass player from Pearl Jam. Pearl Jam, a little bit of like 90s U2. I didn't listen to like a whole lot of U2, but like late 90s, early 2000s U2 has a little bit of that vibe. And a lot of people will kind of roll their eyes when they hear this, but also kind of like that 90s pop rock, kind of like Goo Goo Dolls, where it's kind of like, it has kind of like a grunge kind of sound to it, but yet it's not in any way grunge lyrics. It's more about like love or broken relationships.
Well, that's like Goo Goo Dolls remind me. They remind me of like a grunge rock band where like they said like, okay, this is gonna be grunge rock, but for girls.
Yeah. I feel a little bad. I kind of like the Goo Goo Dolls. They're not my favorite band, but they're like, they got some catchy stuff.
They're not bad. They got some fine things. But
That's
really what reminds me of when I'm listening to them. Like, it's like, yep.
I almost gotta like close the blinds, just put on headphones. I listen to them. Like,
it's a band that wants to have that grunge rock sound, but with lyrics and like towards women
and feelings.
Yeah, feelings and emotions and all that fun stuff.
No, they ain't a bad band. They have their equations down to make some money, so good for them. So anyway, if you like 90s rock, check out R&DM. Like, I should emphasize, more like, I guess, kind of like softer 90s rock. It's kind of in the middle. I'm not saying it's all the way in that Goo Goo Dolls territory, but it's say in between like Goo Goo Dolls and Pearl Jam, kind of like that middle ground. And you said to me earlier we have an email.
Yes, we got an email from Jacob Sampson.
Good old Jacob Sampson,
who emailed us once about, I don't know, 7 podcasts ago or something like that. And he says, "Hi, it's Jacob again. I sent an email a while ago and you guys read it, and I was really happy you guys read it. I'm emailing you to say I'm always listening to your podcast and I love it. You guys should bring back Nora Chambers, and she's really funny. I'm just wondering when the next Grit comic is coming out. I also want to suggest some comics you guys should really read. Resurrection Man, New 52, and I'm just starting to read Green Arrow, Midas Touch.
Midas Touch is good. I'll let you borrow that one.
Oh, yeah, that's one I have to sit in my house. And I also just bought Superman Earth 1, Volume 2.
I really want to read that one.
Volume 1. I saw that one in, like, I think it was, like, I saw it in a magazine. I saw that there. Which is really good, he says, and he suggested. That one would be a pretty cool one to do. I'd like to do the Superman on there.
Yeah, I gotta let you borrow Superman Earth 1, Volume 1, but I was looking forward to one more line. Here we go.
Just keep making podcasts and put them on iTunes. Thanks, bye. So thank you very much, Jacob.
Yeah, thank you, Jacob.
And Superman's always good. I do like Superman.
I love the Superman too. Midas Touch is pretty good. Check that one out when you get a chance to. And I'll keep my eye out for Resurrection Man. What was the other? We'll try and bring Nora back. We're not doing as many podcasts as we used to do, and plus we've been super busy. We're going to try and bring Nora on one eventually. Again. Yeah. She's always fun to have on.
She's fun to have on. I guess you just get lazy after a while. So like, well, gotta plan this out now a little bit more and everything. And just like, when it's just 2 of us, it's just, there's no planning involved. Just show up.
Yeah.
Like, when you feel like it, you can call it the last second.
Yeah. Well, the thing with Nora is, like, we usually bring her on primarily when it's, like, current event type stuff. And the current events, sadly enough, just don't bring in as many views. So we're kind of, we could do some more current event stuff later down the line. But we like to bring her on.
Like, it's kind of hard unless somebody's actually there with you when they go to see a movie, or a lot of our topics like that. That's like the only downfall. Those we have to have kind of like a more broad spectrum topic.
Yeah,
like it's unless you came to the movies or something.
Favorite movies one was a pretty fun one. I also like the childhood one we did with her. So, but and as far as Grit issue 2 goes, I believe the first 6 or 7 pages are on my personal Facebook page and on the Grit Facebook page. And I'm gonna just try and crank them out as I go along. I'm not gonna lie. That kind of ends like very abruptly on the current page it's on right now. I'm just gonna because before it came out. It took me like a little under a year. I'd say like 9 months or so to come out with the first issue. Now I've found out how to do some of the do's and don'ts of it. So it's still gonna take me some time, but it's coming out a little quicker. And I'm just gonna post the pages I make them like every 3 pages or so. I'm gonna post it. So and I'm almost done with another extra 2 pages, so it'll be up eventually. So all I ask is please stay patient on that one, and thanks for tuning in, Jacob.
But yeah, well, not much more there is to talk about.
Lincoln, R&DM, Willie the Rape Bear, Justice League of Superhero, Justice League of Ex-Presidents. Would be fucking awesome, yeah.
But yeah, I guess that's a place to end it at.
Yep. I'm Ryan Dunigan.
I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
We'll see you guys later.
Yeah, next week, Red Dawn.
Red Dawn. Actually, something I want to add in real quick. If you got suggestions of things you want to talk about, like Jacob just did, just send us in and let us know. If you want us to read an email, just send it right in.
Yeah, at oldmanorangepodcast@yahoo.com. And also be sure to check out the oldmanorange.com website. That can lead you to everything that we do that's cool.
Plus, you got a Twitter account now.
Yeah, I don't really twit on there, so... Yeah. It's there. I wasn't going to announce that, but now that the cat's out of the bag, I just used to look at what
audience.
I just used to see what Wednesday 13 and Kevin Smith have coming out new.
Didn't mean to whore you out there, but get in touch with the audience. I'm going to get a Twitter pretty soon.
I just like because I can figure out. It's kind of cool because like there's a lot of things. It's like oh, but a new CD came out that like you would never have figured out, and then it would have been like 6 months later, and then you would have looked it up on Amazon. You're like, oh, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But there you can find it. But yeah. So there's all kinds of things to check out. And then make sure you rate us on iTunes and all that good stuff, too.
Every bit helps.
Okay.